I'm so glad you chose to be here once again. Just like last time, I want you to find a comfortable spot. Maybe take a deep breath and just give yourself credit for showing up. This work isn't easy, but it is the most important thing we can do. There is a part of you that you don't know, a silent architect building your reality brick by brick while you're not looking. This hidden dimension of your being holds everything you've ever pushed away or refused to acknowledge. It's a treasure chest and a garbage bin all in one, containing the desires you were taught to feel ashamed of, the impulses you were told were wrong, the thoughts you deemed unacceptable, the fears you didn't want to face, and the personal traits your conscious mind simply refuses to own. The psychologist Carl Jung gave this powerful, unseen force a name: the shadow. And the most important thing to know about the shadow is that it doesn't vanish just because you ignore it. In fact, the opposite is true. The more you try to bury it, the deeper its roots grow, and the more powerful it becomes. It works from the shadows of your mind, subtly steering your reactions, influencing your choices, and coloring the very lens through which you see the world. Think about the people who get under your skin. You criticize their flaws, you judge their mistakes, and you get intensely irritated by behaviors you find unacceptable. But what if that powerful feeling of irritation isn't really about them? What if it's about you? Very often it is. It's your own shadow, locked away in the basement of your mind, banging on the door and screaming to be noticed. Every fault you point out in someone else is frequently a reflection of a part of yourself that you have refused to look at. As long as you continue to use others as a screen to project your own darkness onto, you will remain trapped. You'll be a prisoner in a cycle you're not even aware of, a cycle that runs your life without your consent. It's a simple, unavoidable truth of our inner mechanics. Whatever you refuse to accept and integrate into your awareness will eventually show up as your fate. The very qualities you despise most in other people will, in a strange twist of irony, be the exact qualities you end up expressing in your own life, often without any idea that you're doing it. This doesn't happen because you are a bad person or because you are weak. It happens because ignoring your shadow is like signing an invisible contract. It's an agreement to be secretly controlled by the very things you refuse to confront. This journey of discovery is for those who are brave. It's for people who are tired of blaming the world for their problems and are ready to begin the most challenging, yet ultimately liberating, process a person can undertake: the honest meeting with their own soul. Do not fool yourself into thinking this path will be a walk in the park. It will require you to face your most profound fears. It will ask you to acknowledge feelings you have always labeled as shameful and to accept impulses you preferred to believe were not part of you. But the reward for this difficult work is everything. It is genuine emotional freedom, real personal growth, and a profound maturity you can't find anywhere else. You were not designed to live in a state of constant civil war with yourself. The shadow that secretly sabotages you, frightens you, and manipulates your life today can be understood and integrated. The choice is yours and yours alone. You can either turn and face what is hiding in the depths of your own soul, or you will eventually be consumed by the very things you refuse to see. The journey into your own darkness is transformative. Those who walk it never come back as the same person they were before. The shadow is not what most people think. It's not just the dark side of your personality, some kind of internal monster that needs to be defeated, or a curse you have to fight. Carl Jung saw the shadow as a fundamental, vital part of being human. It's a hidden landscape within us, a place where we have exiled all the pieces of ourselves that our conscious mind, heavily conditioned by society, family, and our own inner critic, has decided to hide away. From the moment you were a child, you were learning the rules. You were taught that certain feelings and behaviors are good and acceptable, while others are bad and unacceptable. You learned to put on a smile when you felt like crying. You learned to be polite when you felt like screaming in frustration. You learned to push down your anger, your healthy ambition, your raw sensuality, your vulnerability, and your fear. Anything that didn't fit the neat and tidy mask you were encouraged to wear was shoved down into the basement of your mind. That basement, this collection of cast-off, rejected pieces of who you are, is what Jung meant by the shadow. But here is the crucial truth that takes courage to embrace. The shadow is not only filled with negative or destructive impulses, it also contains some of your greatest strengths. It's where your dormant creativity is hiding. It's where your forgotten passions lie. It's where your suppressed courage and your lost sense of spontaneity are waiting. The shadow holds both your capacity for causing harm and your incredible potential for healing and transformation. To ignore it is to choose to live a partial, incomplete life. To integrate it is to finally accept the totality of who you are. When you begin to understand the shadow, you begin to understand that a human being is a creature of both light and darkness, and that to deny this darkness is to cut yourself off from a massive source of your own life force and energy. The shadow holds the keys to profound self-knowledge, to deep emotional growth, and to the development of true, unshakable maturity. But you can only earn these keys with the raw courage it takes to look within, without the usual masks, excuses, or self-pity. When the shadow is not integrated, the mind becomes unbalanced. The repressed energy doesn't just go away, it becomes toxic. It fuels symptoms like chronic anxiety, deep depression, sudden outbursts of rage, compulsive behaviors, patterns of self-sabotage, and a persistent nagging feeling of emptiness and meaninglessness. The ignored shadow finds other ways to make its presence known, and these ways are often painful and self-destructive. And this is precisely where the mechanism of emotional projection enters the picture. When you cannot see your own shadow, your unconscious mind will kindly arrange for you to see it everywhere else, using other people as your personal mirror. When you fail to see what truly exists inside of you, the world around you becomes a mirror. But it's not a clear, perfect mirror. It's a distorted one, a funhouse mirror that is filtered through the lens of all your unconscious biases and rejected parts. Carl Jung called this process projection. It's the mind's automatic mechanism for taking the things you've repressed, your unrecognized shadow, and attributing them to other people. You don't see these traits in yourself, so your mind pushes them outward for you to see. This is why the behavior of certain people starts to bother you far more than it reasonably should. It's why you have reactions that feel disproportionate, irrational, and often completely baffling even to yourself. Emotional projection is an incredibly common human experience, but it is very rarely understood for what it is. You might feel a burning anger towards someone you see as arrogant, but deep down, that anger might be fueled by your own suppressed desire to be more assertive and confident. You might harshly judge someone for being selfish, when in reality, it's you who constantly swallows your own needs and desires, building up a quiet resentment because you never allow yourself to come first. You might get intensely irritated by people who are openly emotional and expressive, perhaps because you learned very early in life that showing your feelings was a sign of weakness that needed to be hidden at all costs. The other person becomes a stage, and on that stage, your unconscious mind acts out a drama, featuring all the characters you've refused to acknowledge within yourself. That's the core of it. Projection isn't a conscious decision you make. It's a form of psychological self-defense. Your conscious identity, the image you have of yourself, wants to protect itself and remain stable. So, anything that threatens that carefully constructed image, anything that contradicts the character you believe yourself to be, gets forcefully expelled and projected onto the external world. You start seeing monsters and villains in other people, never realizing that you are actually running away from your own reflection. Think about how many relationships may have been damaged or even destroyed because you didn't see that the core issue wasn't the other person, but the way their behavior activated your own hidden shadow. How many times have you pushed someone away without being able to give a clear reason why, only knowing that their presence made you feel a discomfort you couldn't quite name? How many times have you felt intense dislike for someone who, without knowing it, happened to embody a quality you fought with all your might to keep buried within yourself? Projection turns your life into a battlefield, but the war is, and always has been, taking place inside of you. It blinds you to reality, it limits your potential, and it prevents you from ever truly growing up emotionally. There is only one way to break this destructive cycle. You have to start taking ownership of your own emotional reactions. You have to ask yourself with unflinching honesty, what exactly is it about this person that is bothering me so intensely? And why is my reaction so strong? Be warned, this process is not comfortable. It requires you to step down from the comfortable pedestal of being a victim and take on the difficult job of examining your own soul. But it is right here, in this uncomfortable space, that true transformation can finally begin. When you stop running away and start listening to what your shadow is desperately trying to tell you, you will discover that the pain of projection is actually your own mind's invitation to become a more whole and complete person. Ignoring your shadow is like trying to put out a fire by closing your eyes. You can pretend it's not happening. You can convince yourself that the smoke you smell is coming from somewhere else. You can even create elaborate intellectual theories to justify your denial. But all the while, the fire continues to burn. And the more you refuse to look at it, the more it silently consumes the person you are. When you project your repressed qualities onto the world, you lose contact with your own inner reality. You start fighting imaginary battles, seeing enemies where there are only reflections, and wrestling with others over the very issues you secretly fear to find within yourself. But the thing you don't understand, or refuse to accept, is that what you hate out there is quietly shaping who you are becoming in here. Carl Jung stated this principle clearly. That which we do not bring to consciousness appears in our lives as fate. If you don't confront your own buried anger, it will seep out as chronic resentment and passive-aggressive behavior. If you deny your own envy of others, it will transform into a silent, corrosive bitterness. If you hide your own ambition because you think it's unseemly, it will fester and rot into a deep-seated frustration and self-pity. Slowly but surely, you stop being the person you think you are, and you start becoming the very thing you swore you would never be. This is how intensely moralistic people are created, who publicly condemn the very behaviors they secretly indulge in. This is how people who sacrifice everything for others are born, who, by giving too much, feed a hidden hatred for those who don't appreciate them enough. This is how good, well-meaning people become tyrants in their own homes, at their jobs, and in their relationships, suffocated by the weight of the parts of themselves they never had the courage to face and integrate. You can spend your entire life running, making excuses, and pointing the finger at everyone else, but the truth is relentless. What you reject in yourself doesn't go away. It just finds new, cleverer masks to wear, and the longer you ignore it, the more powerful it gets. Eventually, a day may come when there is no meaningful difference between the person you thought you were and the thing you despise the most. The unintegrated shadow takes the driver's seat of your life and steers you wherever it wants, without your permission. It sabotages your best relationships, it undermines your most cherished dreams, and it trips you up at every step you try to take toward a better life. And you, blinded by your own pride, will continue to blame the world, never realizing the enemy was always within. But there is a way out. There is a path to make this force stop destroying you and start empowering you. There is a way to turn the poison into medicine, the hatred into self-knowledge, and the shame into personal power. That path begins with one conscious decision, the decision to integrate the shadow, to welcome it out of the darkness and into the light of your awareness. Integrating the shadow is no small task. It isn't a symbolic gesture or a simple intellectual decision. It is a difficult, sometimes painful, and profoundly transformative process. It means consciously choosing to walk into the forbidden territories of your own soul and face everything you have spent a lifetime trying to run away from. The first step is an act of brutal recognition. You have to admit, without any excuses or attempts to soften the blow, that the darkness exists within you. There is anger in you. There is envy in you. There are desires for power, feelings of revenge, a deep fear of failure, vanity, and pride. And alongside all of that, there is also repressed talent, forgotten courage, and a dormant potential for greatness. To deny any of these parts is to continue letting the shadow rule your life. The second step is conscious observation. The shadow loves to reveal itself in your most intense and out-of-proportion reactions. When you feel a white-hot hatred for someone for no logical reason, when you explode with rage over a minor inconvenience, when you feel a deep sense of shame about a normal, legitimate part of who you are. These are the moments when the shadow is whispering to you. Learn to observe these moments without judgment and without immediately trying to justify your feelings. Just look. Just acknowledge what is happening inside you. The third step is compassionate acceptance. Integrating the shadow does not mean giving into it or finding excuses for destructive behavior. It means accepting that you are a complete human being made of both light and shadow, strength and weakness. There can be no true emotional maturity without this acceptance. Without it, you will remain stuck in a pointless internal war, constantly trying to amputate vital parts of yourself to fit into an unrealistic and sterile image of perfection. But integrating the shadow is incredibly difficult to do alone. You will often need support. Practices like dream analysis, deep and honest journaling, and daily self-observation can be powerful tools. Above all, working with a therapist, particularly one trained in Jungian or depth psychology, can be an invaluable guide in this process. A skilled therapist knows how to help you navigate the complex layers of your own unconscious mind, how to identify your patterns of projection, and how to recognize the self-sabotaging habits that keep you stuck. True inner alchemy occurs when you learn to transform what was once a source of deep shame into a source of genuine strength. It's when you realize that your anger, when understood, can become healthy assertiveness, that your vanity can be redirected into genuine self-care, that your envy can point you toward your own legitimate, unfulfilled desires for personal growth. The shadow does not have to destroy you. If you work with it consciously, it can become the very foundation of your true inner freedom. But don't be mistaken, this is a continuous, lifelong process. There is no finish line where you suddenly become perfectly enlightened. The human mind is always changing, and new shadows will emerge at different stages of life. The goal is not to eliminate the darkness, but to learn how to keep the light of consciousness active, vigilant, and integrated with it. And when you start to do this, something amazing happens. Your relationship with the entire world begins to change. When you begin the process of integrating your own shadow, the world around you seems to transform. But the truth is, the world hasn't changed at all. The one who has changed is you. What once seemed completely unbearable in other people had. You stop seeing enemies lurking around every corner and start seeing human beings who are just as flawed, complex, and contradictory as you are. The power of emotional projection begins to fade because the source of the inner conflict has finally been acknowledged. You no longer feel the compulsive need to unload your frustrations onto others. You no longer have to justify your own pain by attacking or rejecting the people around you. You learn how to hold the mirror up to your view face and courageously ask the most important question. What does this strong reaction I'm having reveal about me? This transformation is deep and structural. It's not just a surface-level change in your behavior. It's a fundamental shift in the way you perceive reality. The integrated shadow gives you something that your conscious mind, on its own, could never achieve: balance. This isn't the fragile balance of pretending to be something you're not, nor is it the tense balance of constantly repressing your true feelings. It is a solid, resilient balance, like a great stone that has weathered countless internal storms. The results of this inner work naturally spill over into your practical everyday life. Your relationships improve because you are no longer desperately seeking from others the validation that was missing within yourself. The criticisms of other people no longer wound you so deeply because you are no longer a slave to the need to appear perfect. You become far more authentic because you no longer feel the need to hide who you truly are. You become stronger because you are no longer wasting enormous amounts of energy fighting a war against yourself. And this profound change does not go unnoticed by those around you. People can feel the difference. Some will be drawn closer to you, recognizing in you a presence that is more genuine, secure, and alive. Others may distance themselves, unable to handle someone who no longer wants to participate in the unconscious games of projection and blame. This, too, is a natural part of the process. Integrating your shadow also means purifying the social environment around you. Carl Jung taught that we do not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making our own darkness conscious. True maturity is born from this courageous confrontation with your own soul. True strength emerges when you finally stop running away from yourself. You have spent so much of your life trying to hide your flaws, trying to be what others wanted you to be, and contorting yourself to fit into molds that were never designed for you. You tried to erase your impulses, your feelings, and your inner truths, believing that this denial would make you stronger, more acceptable, or more righteous. But all that effort only served to feed your shadow. It only gave more power to the very things you feared. The simple truth is that there can be no real peace as long as you are at war with yourself. Integrating your shadow is not about the impossible goal of becoming a perfect person. It is about the attainable goal of becoming a whole person. It's about reclaiming all the lost parts of your soul that you abandoned along your life's journey. Not so that they can dominate you, but so that you can know them, understand them, and finally bring them into your conscious awareness. It is the opposite of repression. It is emotional responsibility. It is psychological maturity. It is, in the end, inner freedom. This journey isn't about achieving perfection, but about embracing your true self. It's about finding your way back home to who you are, stepping out of any limitations, and finally recognizing the warmth and light of your own inherent worth. You deserve this. You always have. Thanks for watching. If this resonated, please like this video and subscribe to stay updated. I look forward to continuing this journey with you. Until next time, take care and be present.